Math 10-3, Lesson 4.4, Making Conversions. We're going to be working on converting between volume and weight, and we'll get to that in a minute. I found this cartoon that I thought was quite humorous, and this is what it would look like if we all had to use the metric system. Say, mister, that's a pretty nice 37.9 liter hat you got there. Anyway, let's take a look and see how that number came to be. I'm just going to, this hat, what do we think? What would be, if you thought about it? Yeah, a 10-gallon hat. 10 gallons. And well, and this is the Old West, so these are 10 US gallons. So I am going to now open up our Moodle site and get our formula sheet so we can figure out what that's about. Okay, here we are. Coming in, there it is, the formula sheet. I'll just relocate it onto the screen, get rid of this. There we go. So that, where is it? Let's just scroll up here. Oh yeah, right here. 1 US gallon is 3.4 or 3.785 liters. Okay, so 1 US gallon is equal to 3.785, and we'll round that to 9 like they did in the cartoon. So we've got our conversion factor. 1 gallon is equal to 3.79 liters. Remember, we set these up as ratios, so 1 gallon is equal to 3.79 liters. We have a 10-gallon hat, so we match up and put our gallons on top because they match there, and we want to know how many liters that is. Well, we take 3.79 liters, multiply it by 10 gallons, oops, divide it by 1 gallon, so our units cancel, and there we go. We've got a 37.9 liter hat. Okay, let's go on to working with volume and weight. Okay, this is our cartoon, not our cartoon, this is our question. How many bushels of flaxseed are there in 2.4 tons or metric tons if the conversion factor is? So we're given the conversion factor of bushels per ton, and there's 30.386 bushels of flaxseed in each ton of flaxseed. But I was thinking that we had to get have some concept of what a bushel is. And so here is a half a bushel basket. So those two baskets together are 1 bushel. And if you think about a ton, a metric ton, that's 1,000 kilograms. That is a lot of anything. But how many baskets it's going to be is dependent on how dense the material is. Imagine that I fill those 2 baskets up with styrofoam. Now it's going to take a whole lot of baskets to make a ton of styrofoam, or feathers. Now feathers are a little heavier, but what about popcorn? Right? But if I put something more dense in there, where there's more mass in the same volume, it's going to take fewer tons. And so just to give us a sense of the volume, here's a really old sheet, and I've never even heard of a gill. And a gill is 4 gills make a pint. Well, it's a gill is like, that's got to be half a cup then. But anyway, they're going on to what we've got here, the US dry measures: 2 pints in a quart, 8 quarts in a peck, 4 pecks in a bushel. So that means that we have 38 quarts equals 1 bushel. And now that's approximately. So if you think of a quart sealer, where if you ever made pickles or canned your tomatoes or made salsa and you think of a quart, 34 of them. That's a decent volume, but not if you're looking at selling tons and tons and tons of things like grain. And if we just scroll down here, what you'll see, and that's maybe a little hard to see, I'll pick it up and make it a bit bigger here, is this. There we go. This came off of an agriculture, Alberta Agriculture. And what it's telling us is the number of bushels for these different seeds or grains per ton. And it's important because a truck can only, or thinking about a train car, they can only hold so much weight, no matter how big it is. And so we might have to put less. Now, if we look, some of these are quite a bit different, right? Like oats, 64. That's a lot of bushels, so it's quite light, right? You take 64, almost 65 bushels to make up a ton, whereas some of our heavier objects, like peas, 36.7, or beans, they're more densely packed, and so it takes fewer of them. Wheat as well. And so there's only about 37 bushels compared to the 65 bushels. I think of those as those big baskets. Okay, so now you have a sense of what you can, of the volume of a bushel. Let's go back up here to the question. So we're told that 1 ton of flaxseed requires 30.386 bushels. So we have 30.368 bushels, and that's the abbreviation BU. Bushels, or it should be a small b, sorry, for 1 metric ton. And if I have 2.4 tons, how many bushels is that going to be? Well, I simply multiply those two together, and I get X equaling 90, let me rewrite that, X equals 94.5 bushels of flaxseed. Okay, so that's the kind of comparison we're looking at, volume to mass. I'm going to do, because there's only one question in the one example, I'm going to do the first question in building your skills. I'll just read it out. This is on page 204 in the workbook. So if you want to pause the video and open up your workbook, you can read it. Lalia brought 5 bushels of sunflower seeds. So I know I have 5 bushels of sunflower seeds. And if the conversion factor is 73.487 bushels per ton, what is the weight? And remember here, they're using weight and mass interchangeably, and of the flaxseed in kilograms and in pounds. So if we're finding the kilograms, really that's when we're finding our mass, and when we find it in pounds, that's when we're finding the weight. So first of all, we need to figure out how many tons we have. I have 5 bushels. And I want to know how many tons that is. I know that it takes 73.487 bushels to make up 1 metric ton. if we go and look at our formula sheet, we can see here, right up here, that 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms. So right here, 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms. So I can replace that 1 ton by 1,000 kilograms. So I have 5 bushels divided by x is equal to 73.487 bushels for 1,000 kilograms. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. I take 5 bushels, multiply it by 1,000 kilograms, and I divide it by the number of bushels in that 1,000 kilograms. Notice that my units of bushels will cancel, and so I'm going to calculate 5 times 1,000 and then divide it by 73.485. So pulling out my calculator. And I said 0.485, it's 0.487. And that gives me 68.04 kilograms. And remember, I've rounded this. Now we know how many kilograms we have. Part B asks us for it in pounds. Well, again, we go to our formula sheet, and we see that 2.2 pounds for each kilogram. So we have 2.2 pounds for 1 kilogram, and we want to know how many pounds we have in 68.04 kilograms. Cross multiply and divide. 2.2 pounds times 68.04 kilograms divided by that 1 kilogram. Our units cancel, and we can calculate that. And we come up with 149.7 pounds in those 5 bushels. So you only want to be moving those by yourself. Now you need to take some time and practice. So again, on page 204, you're going to build your skills. We've done question 1, so you can do 2 through 9. And then on page 207, you can practice your new skills, and you can do 1 through 6. Once you've done that, if you get that done, you can work on the assignment. And that would be Unit 3, Assignment 2. This is for Friday. Have a good day.